Getting tickets for live events is a common problem for many Taiwanese fans, even if they're ready to pay whatever the platform is charging. Some popular acts, many of them from Japan or Korea, can sell out in seconds and crash even the most robust ticketing platforms. It's all very frustrating for fans, and doubly so when then they see those same tickets being resold by scalpers at an eye-watering premium. So, we'll be taking a look at systems in Taiwan and other countries in the region designed to help with these problems, as well as the changing preferences of event goers. And helping us along, we welcome back Weining Hung, the founder and director of 9kick, a culture agency specializing in event production and music marketing, speaking to us from Taipei. And joining us from Sydney, we have Chen, the head of partnerships at FANSI, a Taiwan-based ticketing platform. Weining, I know people who set alarms to go buy tickets for some of the shows that they want to attend, and even given that, they're not always able to secure one, and sometimes a show might sell out in seconds. So how are ticketing platforms currently trying to deal with this problem, and are those measures working?
I think, we all have this kind of experience, and we know lots of fans, K-pop, J-pop fans do that, or some popular shows. And currently, I think most of the Taiwanese promoter are using two methods. One is the real name system. That is basically when you purchase tickets, you have to also put on your real name, and it's basically means that if you want to exchange or you want to resell, sometimes it's even not possible. And the second way is a lottery draw. So you can register first, and then if you are lucky, you will be chosen. So those are the major two ways right now. And from a fan's point of view, I will think at least it seems fair. And I think that's also what most of promoters really care, because they don't want to make their customers unhappy, of course. So fairness is number one. But in another way, it's actually give promoter lots of hassles, and also give, I believe, ticketing system also. And all the parties involved in the live day is a big problem. And also sometimes it's a big problem for fans as well, because it's so unflexible. That's if you get sick or suddenly you just cannot go. Or the most ridiculous thing is like if you can buy tickets for 4 people and 4 people have to go together. There's nobody can be sick. Or the person who get tickets cannot get sick. Otherwise, the other 3 persons cannot go either. So from my point of view, I'm kind of actually very surprised. Nobody from business point of view trying to solve this big problem, because I see this is a big business opportunities.
During a previous conversation, Henry mentioned Web3 and tools associated with Web3 like blockchain as a possible new entrant into the field of ticketing and ticketing platforms. So Henry, can it help with scalpers? Can it help with trying to get the tickets and snipe them before they sell out? Or what else can Web3 bring to the ticketing game?
Well, I don't think that Web3 can actually help with tickets selling out and snatching them, because it really comes down to the internet speed. But definitely blockchain can help with scalpers, because it gives us transparency and accountability, which is something that traditional ticketing systems has always struggled with this. Because once the ticket is issued on-chain, every transfer and every resale is both traceable. And something that is wonderful for promoters about issuing tickets chain is that artists are able to get revenue on every ticket resale, which wasn't able to happen before. because this is something that we are able to hard code into the smart contract on chain. Previously, that revenue belonged to the scalpers, and artists or even ticketing companies themselves and have no way of knowing how many times a ticket was transferred. And fans can't always trust a ticket they buy online from a non-official source can be legit. But I think with Web3 technology, every ticket can be verified, and artists are able to get a cut from other resales as well. We tend to think that it's not just doing anti-scalping only. It's about bringing that trust back into the ticketing. And another thing that I think that is really magical for me about Web3 is that what happens after the ticket is sold. Because when fans still hold that digital ticket stub on chain, it becomes sort of like a badge of participation. You can reward them for attendance, unlock future experiences, or even verify that how long has this person been a fan. You can imagine going to a concert 10 years ago for artist's first EP release in a 100% person capacity live venue, and 10 years later you were rewarded by giving private access to a sound check at the national stadium because your ticket actually proves that you were by their side over all these years. And I think that's what Web3 really is about. It's not just a buzzword, but a way to make fandom more engaged, meaningful, and engaging. And also to fight scalpers, of course.
Well, it sounds like something fans would really appreciate. And on that note, let's hear from the fans. We went to the recent Jam Jam Asia Music Festival in Taipei and asked some of the participants about their experiences and expectations for live events. Take a look.
我觉得以前的票比较好抢，对，但是现在像大港或浪人记都是有那种秒抢然后抢不到的状况，因为后面好像比较倡导实名制，就会比较麻烦一点。
我觉得可能仿照日本用抽票的形式，我觉得还是比较公平的。但抽票这件事情，我会希望是可以比较有一些数据让我们知道，比如说到底有多少人同时抽这个场次，然后全部有释出几张票这样子的情况。
网页跟 App 的速度要跟上，不然就会看到一直在转圈圈。
I think there has to be more transparency between this ticket providers and customers.
You know, I tend to personally support a lot more indie platforms and musician-run sponsored events.
完全可以接受啊，因为就是有些团我就是想要花那个价格去买，对，那它搭上其他的部分，我觉得其他大部分都是赚到的，对，所以如果我能够在买得到票，然后贵一点，我也觉得没关系的。
I feel like fixed pricing I prefer. I think when it's surge pricing, then the more popular it gets, then they can keep on increasing the pricing. If it's my favorite artist in the entire world, yes, but I think if it's a newer artist that I'm not as familiar with, I might not be as willing.
对，那我自己是觉得，其实是台湾的票价是可以再有一些进步的还有一些涨幅啦。就我觉得要真的看到好的表演，因为像去 Summer Sonic 这样子，虽然很热，可是它有很多国际的巨星，然后整个场地的安排很好。那我觉得对现在音乐季台湾泛滥的程度来说，如果有机会有更高的票价，让观众可以拉出更好的观赏品质，或是更好的团，那我觉得是对台湾的整体产业来说是一个比较好的事情。
So, Weining, are spending and sort of music enjoyment habits and preferences of audiences in Taiwan changing, especially among young people?
I think so. I think there's like a line that we draw that's before COVID and after COVID. Because before COVID, we mainly promote the artists, foreign artists, international artists. And what we have observed is like during COVID, a lot of local musicians developed a quick way and they gain lots of fans. During that period of time, I thought it's just Taiwan because we are controlling the situation pretty well and we still keeping having shows. And the only people who can still do live are local musicians. So that's just normal. But then I think back on 2022, that's we find research paper talking about globalization, then we kind of realize, maybe it's not just Taiwan, it's a global trend. That means globally, that's the music genre are if the music genre is trendy, then it's trendy globally. But somehow the local musicians with this trends gains more fans and gains more advantages. So nowadays, I think let's quit doing it after 2022. That I find local musicians growing a lot, and international acts, except like super big K-pop, J-pop fans, it's become more and more tricky. That's for the promoters to promote the shows. Of course, that you will see lots of promoters are still doing shows, but you probably will also find out that the regions are becoming closer. The artists mainly are from Japan and Korea, and the Westerner, the European and US indie artists are decreasing. That's the artist side. And if we're talking about the behavior from the young audiences, I find they are like very good consumer, very wise consumers. They think twice, 3 times before they actually purchase anything. And they are quite careful with their spending, but they care about quality a lot. So in general, I think they are smart consumers and with more local taste in general. But of course, don't get me wrong, there are still fans who love the international acts and have different type of taste. But I'm more talking about the trend.
Well, I guess gone are the days when people my age and my generation would come back with a T-shirt from every single concert. Henry, do you have anything to add to that picture of these changing kind of spending habits based on the data that you have access to and you can share with us?
Yeah, totally. And I think Weining made a good point, and that change is actually very fascinating to watch, and mainly because I think that we talked about government before. There are a lot of shows going on right now, between free entry shows sponsored by the government and ticketed ones sponsored by the government, and ticketed ones the people hold themselves as well. So fans are getting more and more intentional. They think twice about where they spend their money. And from our data, it shows that instead of going to 5 random shows a month, they will spend it and save it up and spend it on one experience that really matters. And they're kind of not afraid to spend big on it, because we're seeing this shift happening, especially among Gen Z fans, that they care about the connection they get from the live events more than the entertainment itself. They want moments that feel personal, and they're not afraid to spend money on that. That means exclusive merch and post-show or pre-show content or meet and greet packages, high fives and high buys and all that. So the total spend per fan has actually increased. Even the number of tickets per show has gone down. So for us platforms, that means we should think more strategically on how to create that experience and communicating that to the event organizers. That ticketing is just the beginning. You have to use that starting point to get people to buy merch, to go do more fan engagement, and to spread the word out there. Ticketing is the start of the journey instead of the end of the journey.
Well, streaming has definitely changed the way artists are earning money, are generating revenue, forcing a lot of them to tour a lot more than they used to, or that artists were doing before the internet, before streaming really took off. So Weining, what kind of challenges does that present for promoters, sort of on the even the legal side? You know, we're talking about kind of sales and transfers of money going across borders and all taxes and all that.
Talking about challenges, indeed, musicians tour more and more, and because they kind of lose the means on like record sales. So if you want to survive, if you want to make a living by making music, you probably have to tour. And the problem of many international touring thing is that the artists expect to do tour every year, but maybe the fan don't want to see them every year, especially when there are such a busy time for touring markets. So you will probably find like a promoter will tell the artist, maybe you don't come back in 9 months or 12 months because the fan just seen you. So it's become a dilemma for many musicians that because they cannot tour internationally every year. But if you are a locally strong artist, you have a better base because local market work very differently. Local market, you can still do lots of shows because you don't only do your headline shows. You can do festival shows and you can do brand shows and you can even join like a market or hospitality type of shows. So there are lots of choice. But if you are doing international tour, it could be a problem for musicians and for promoters.
Well, thank you both for this very enlightening, very, very interesting conversation. Weining Hung speaking to us from Taipei and Henry Chen coming to us from Sydney.